Good morning. Welcome to TERRA at Home. I'm back with Colleen Zimmerman, and we are talking about tiny little plants and small little areas and how you can make a great looking pot using a variety of, you have a few annuals and some perennials.
Yes.
Right? Okay, so where should we start? And of course we have some of these cute little guys as well we can add.
The biggest trend right now is a lot of people are downsizing and they don't have a whole lot of space. So there's a huge demand for small plants so that they don't grow very fast and they don't take up that much space.
Right.
Which is also beneficial because usually things that are dwarf don't take up a whole lot of time.
I was just going to say lower maintenance, the smaller they are, the lower the maintenance generally, right? So that's also helpful.
They don't need as much pruning, they don't take up as much space, and they usually grow slower.
Okay, well that's good to know.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, like a lot of times people are buying plants and if they don't really pay attention, they literally explode and take over everything else and grow and you don't even know what else you planted. So you really have to be, on your game and just make a note of what you're purchasing so that you can put together something nice that's all going to kind of grow at the same rate.
Exactly. Right? Yeah, and it's something that, if you go away for a week, you're not going to come back and go, oh my goodness, what happened? And things are all overgrown, so everything kind of stays in control.
Yeah, and that's key too. People who, are business travelers or are traveling a lot during the summer seasons into fall, they, if you don't have someone taking care of your plants for you, you do want to have something that's low maintenance.
Definitely.
Okay, so where should we start?
Some of the choices that we have here, we'll start on your side. Right up front, there are some beautiful blue flowers. That's a salvia, and they flower for a very long time, and it is perennial, so it's a nice compact plant. Beautiful blue flowers, attracts your hummingbirds and your butterflies as well, so it's kind of nice to bring that into your yard.
Like that.
And beside that, the red flowers is our new Red Riding Hood series.
Oh, that's cute.
So they're kind of nice. The colors on those flowers are so vivid. I have some at the back of my yard, and they glow.
Really? So when they open up, they're beautiful.
I love that. And again, another hummingbird and butterfly flower.
I bet.
In front of that, there's some lavender, which has been an extremely popular plant, and that's great because it's very disease and drought tolerant, and it's fragrant, so it's great to have on the patio. It's just, especially in the evenings when you get a little bit of a breeze, and you can just have that kind of nice smell. It's beautiful.
That's nice.
Most ground covers are also dwarf. There's a lamium in the front there.
Okay.
And then it's nice to play around with the colors, so you don't always have to count on those flower colors. So in front of you here we have some euonymus, the variegated one. And then the purple plant there, we have a barberry, which is another dwarf plant, and great purple foliage and very neat, tidy appearance to it.
Okay.
And then other nice burgundy foliages are from our heucheras or our coral bells.
Right.
Love them.
Me too. Those are really nice.
They come in tons of different varieties now. There's a new series. One of the ones that we have up front here is called Cocoa. It's from the Little Cutie series. So they're all like dwarf versions of larger sizes.
Wow.
So they're great for containers, great for small spaces and putting into just little crevices and things like that.
So you find that they're making more of these hybrid type plants so that they are for small spaces, specifically almost just designing it around the needs of the customer nowadays, right?
Yes, I noticed a lot of the new varieties that were coming out this year and that we're bringing into the garden center is that they are all dwarf versions of things. Longer flowering, better flowering, bigger flowers, smaller plants.
Right. That's the thing, because some people who have these big, massive properties are trying to find plants that are just going to explode, and every year as your garden starts to mature, it's going to get bigger and bigger, and almost that overgrown and just filling spaces is great.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of people, as you say, just living in a condo that want to have the tiniest little space in their backyard. If they have the tiniest little spot, they want to fill it with flowers, but not feel like it's being going to grow on top of them.
Exactly. And so even if you have a balcony, you can have your own little patch of green, or in this case, burgundies and yellows and plums and peaches.
Yeah, exactly.
So the nice thing about the small space plants as well is that they can go into containers.
Right.
So you can bring part of your garden and repeat what's in your garden into a container and pull that right up to your house and right up to your patio. So this one here has a collection that's got some Japanese fern, it's got some hosta. This is heucherella, which is a relative of the heuchera. It just has a more trailing habit, so it works really well in pots. We've got Japanese bloodgrass, and then we've had some of the celosia, which is an annual, so that gives you some nice, bright, consistent color throughout the season.
Okay. Now, it's funny, when you look at a pot, some people, when they're planting a pot, and we're going to do that right now, I notice whenever I look at the pots made here at TERRA, you guys really pack it in. You put a lot in there. Some people are afraid to do that, and they make them very sparse. And then by the time September they look good, and then all of a sudden it gets cold, and then they're done. So it takes a long time to get there, but you can really pack a lot in, and it's not going to hurt the flowers.
No, it doesn't, and it's an instant look. I think that's the thing now. Everybody's time crunched. I know I am. And it's nice to start with a little bit bigger plant so that you have an instant planter rather than having to wait a month for everything to fill in.
Right, I remember planting before we had like little impatiens and they're like 1, 2, 3, 4, and there's these space all the way around them, and you're like, grow, give me color, grow, and you know, and then as they say, by the time they look good, your season's almost over.
Yeah.
So, okay, so we have nice like full plants here right now, and you're going to show us how to do it.
Yeah, so coordinating planters is a good thing too. So choose pots that are similar shapes, similar colors, and then I'm just kind of doing a similar smaller pot to this so then you can do a collection of planters on your patio too.
So as a starter, with a pot like this, doesn't have any drainage in the bottom, are you putting anything underneath at the bottom of
this
the
one
pot?
does actually have a drainage in the bottom.
This one does have drainage,
yeah,
okay.
That's important, especially for outside.
Yes.
Pots that don't have drainage, I would definitely put a good layer of gravel in the bottom and keep an eye on it. If we have a really good rain, you're going to want to tilt it a little bit because they do get kind of saturated.
Yeah, I find you have to monitor that because there are some beautiful pots out there, but if they don't have that drainage, it can be a bit of a detriment. So, okay, good stuff.
So we started with the heuchera caramel, which kind of coordinates with the heucherella and the other planter. And then I put in the Japanese painted fern, again to repeat that one.
This one's neat looking, this Japanese fern.
Yeah, it's kind of got a metallic sheen to it.
It does, I really like that.
And this is a new celosia, it's the ice cream celosia.
Ice cream?
Ice cream. Gotta have some yummy.
Plants never cease to amaze me. It is unbelievable. So when we talk early in the season about some of the new ones that are coming up, the new perennials, it amazes me the names.
Well, that kind of makes it fun too, especially if you know you can say this is I've got ice cream in my pot.
Exactly.
You know? So you're mixing up textures, you're mixing up some colors. So I've added these osteospermum.
Yeah, these are nice too. I like these a lot.
And these are really nice. And the important thing when you're talking about planters too is choosing things that have similar conditions.
Right.
So
yes, that's right. So we were talking about whether it has diffuse light or direct sunlight. I mean, if you don't want to have one plant that can take all the direct sunlight and none of the other ones can. So half the pot's like, help me, right?
Yes. So since this one has ferns in it, then it's more of a part shade.
Okay.
And then I'm just going to add this ivy for some trailing. And then one nice thing about some of these ground covers too is that you can actually split the pot.
Yes, I do. I like doing that actually because you can really take a lot advantage of one pot and spread it all out.
And then sometimes, you know, especially for ground covers, if you're doing little crevices between walkways or in a stone wall, you need like a smaller little bit. So you can either get a bigger pot and divide it, or you can get like 10 packs or cell packs of ground covers as well.
Oh, see, that's great, right? And then you can kind of experiment. Isn't that beautiful? I really love it. I love the textures. I love it. Again, so you're going to have some trailing, you're going to have some growing tall, gives you some depth and dimension.
So you've got different heights, different textures in there. You've got some large leaves, some kind of very lacy sort of leaves, and then you've got some solid greens and some different colors in there too.
Those are good tips. So now is the time to come to the greenhouses and to walk around and really take a look and start planning. Also make a list for yourself. What colors do you want to have?
Exactly.
What do you want to have? And look also, as you say, look at the light, look at the environment.
Definitely.
Good tips, Colleen. Thank you so much. Get this stuff going. Yay, summer is officially happening. We'll be back with more Terra at Home after this.
Terra, where color lives.
You've sat under them and built forts in them. You've swung from them and fell out of them. You've even fallen in love under them. Trees have always held a special place in our hearts and memories. A natural beauty, trees will grow with you and your family and bring color and nature into your world. For your assurance of quality, look for trees and shrubs with the Medallion plant tag. Medallion plants, locally grown, the pride of Niagara.
Heritage perennials. Look for us in the blue pots.
Good morning. Welcome back to TERRA Home. I'm here with Tyler from Climbers Rock in Burlington on Harvester, and what a cool place.
I know, right? It's pretty
I've always
neat.
had this love for this stuff. It's so interesting to me, but I've never really had a chance to do it. But I think what's cool about it is that it's something for everybody, really, in the big scheme of it. Right?
You're absolutely right. I mean, gyms like ours and gyms like all the ones through the GTA are all focused on kids as small as they can be to adults as old as they can be. So it is for everybody.
And again, also can be as easy or as difficult as you need it to be, right?
You're right. You're right. We put a lot of effort into making sure that our climbers, who are our audience, always have something to climb, whether they're brand new to it or if they've been doing it for 20 years. So you're right.
So you can challenge yourself
Absolutely.
to the
You
ultimate
have to.
when you're hanging like upside down, which I don't know how
for
you
sure,
do. And the great part about this is all year round.
Yes.
And you know, I mean, I look at this as, okay, this is awesome and fun in here. When I think about the reality of it being out on a real rock face, it scares the daylights out of me. So some people never do the outside and only just do this.
You are right. You're right. I mean, climbing gyms in the past have typically been a place where outdoor climbers could train in the winter.
Right.
And now indoor climbing has become a sport on its own. And you're right. There are some people that could get through their entire lives without ever climbing on real rock.
Because that's a whole different ballgame.
You're right. You're right. There are a lot of different factors, for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about your facility. And you've been here for about 4.5 years now or so. And just a really great spot for people to come. And you're saying even like families come, if the moms and dads are totally into it, they start bringing their kids. It's a good sport.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're celebrating our 5th birthday in just a couple months in November. So we've been here for a while. We've got a great membership base, and you're right. It does include adults and it includes little kids as well. Some of the climbers here today are dads of younger kids.
Love it.
And so they've been climbing for a while, and they're starting to get their young children out to try it out when they're 2 and 3 years old.
Oh my gosh.
So it is something for everybody.
I think it's good for kids though, because kids don't have that same fear factor that we do sometimes.
You're right. Some kids do. Some kids, some kids don't.
Right?
It is really different, especially for the younger kids. It can be fairly hit and miss. But every kid is excited when they walk into this place. They see these tall walls and all these colorful holds on everything. So there's a lot of excitement, and for the most part, kids, even if they don't make it to the top of these walls on their first visit, they're so psyched up to come back again and try it.
And that's the thing, you know, just even making it just a few steps up, it kind of just inspires you to keep trying.
It does, and the nice thing about this is that you can measure your progress so easily, in that you come in a climb one day and you see a beautiful climb, you make it up 3 or 4 steps. The next time you come back, it's the same climb, you're gonna make it up 5 or 6, and the next time you may make it to the top, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You also know how hard the climbs are, so you start on an easy climb, and you know that the next one, you're gonna make it a little further up, and you can really gauge your progress just week to week. It's really neat.
Now, so let's talk about some of the things, the basics that you need. So it's really not an expensive sport either, which is great.
No, yeah,
right?
It's definitely not hockey. It's not nearly as expensive as hockey. Our membership rates are super reasonable, but in terms of equipment, it is a fairly cheap sport. So I've got some stuff with me that I want to show you. First of all, I've got my harness, which I'm going to use anytime I'm climbing anything with ropes. I need something to tie into, so I'm going to tie into this harness I have here. All of this stuff we have available at our gym to rent if you don't have it.
I was just going to ask
so you don't need to commit to buying any equipment before you try this out. All right?
Okay,
but I've got my own harness. I've also got down here some climbing shoes, and these are the ones we rent out to people. So we got some pretty snazzy climbing shoes if you need to borrow
when you rent bowling shoes, you can rent climbing shoes.
These are a lot nicer than bowling shoes. They've got this great rubber that sticks to the walls, so it makes it a lot easier to support yourself.
Like a little spider then.
Exactly. And then also, you may want to use a chalk bag. It's the same stuff that gymnasts and weightlifters use, so it keeps your hands a little bit drier and lets you get a better grip on all the climbs. So it's usually a good thing to use when you start out, especially if you're nervous.
Yeah, if you're nervous and you're like, oh,
you can start to feel pretty sweaty.
Sense. Okay, so when we talk about the elements of the wall and all, you're calling these are the grips, you're saying?
You can call them holds, you can call them grips, whatever you like. Yeah, exactly.
So we're looking at someone would think, okay, how do I know which is hard? Again, it's also the angle of the wall, right?
Well, you're exactly right. And our people that work at the gym are called route setters. And so these people spend their days setting up new routes on our wall. So we always have new stuff. Exactly. So these people spend their days playing with all these different levers, and one of those things is how hard or how small are these holds I'm going to use. So we have holds like this where you can really just fit one pad on your finger, and that's going to be on a fairly difficult climb, right?
Can you imagine?
Then you got things like these where you can really get a full palm on that.
Oh, right.
And in
so
fact,
that's flush against
I
the
can
wall.
get both my hands in this.
Okay.
So that's one factor they look into. But you also are talking about how steep are the walls?
Right.
How far apart are all the holds I'm using?
Oh yeah, because you could be like widespread out and trying to literally reach.
Something like this is a great hold, but what if the next hold is really a few feet that way? You do have to put a lot of effort into getting there, right? So you have to like totally
analyze your as you're climbing. You're thinking, okay, what route am I going to take?
You're right.
I mean, obviously, as you said, you could take an easier route, or you can challenge yourself.
And we always talk about how physical this sport is and how it is a full body workout in every sense of the term, but it is a mental workout, because when you look at some of these walls, you see all these holds and you know, well, I can't hold that one, but I can hold that one. How am I going to use these to get to the top?
It's very strategic, right?
It
You're
is,
really
absolutely.
Just analyzing constantly.
It's really a different kind. It's a combination of chess and dancing, sometimes you want to say. It's really neat.
That's awesome.
So it definitely engages every part of you every time you come out.
So yeah, I was just going to ask you, I mean, some people think, oh, I'm going to feel it so much in my upper body, but you're also using, I mean, you're using your legs, you're using everything.
You are,
your back.
People that come out for the first time are definitely going to feel it in their upper body. Part of it is that stress of, I need to really hold on now, right? And so you overexert yourself in your upper body. But as you get used to the sense of gravity and the angle of the wall and feeling comfortable with the height that you're at,
kind of start to balance.
You start to relax and you put more weight on your feet, and you get to the point where your arms are really only ever used for balance, and you let all of your body weight be supported by your feet, just like you and I are right now. We're not using our hands to keep ourselves upright as we're talking, right? And so that's what we aim for when we're climbing. Support yourself.
That makes sense. So when you're up there, you can actually just kind of rest for a moment and chill out versus being like freaking out.
You don't want to be doing this the whole time. That's not going to make it easier.
I love it. That's just awesome.
Yeah.
Now, what would you say is your average clientele? Who are you seeing the most of?
Well, the fastest growing group, because this sport does have this kind of idea of it being an extreme sport, you see a lot of people in their 20s that come out to try it out. But our average clientele is really in the lower 30s for our gym. We have a lot of members that are kids. We run a lot of youth programs so they can come out and climb with kids their own age every week. We also have a lot of members in their 40s, in their 50s, in their 60s, and some in their 70s.
Isn't that neat?
The nice thing about climbing is it's a zero impact sport.
Absolutely.
It is effectively just climbing a ladder, just with things rearranged a bit. And of course, some of these people in those age groups have been climbing for a long time. Some of them are new to it, and they're just finding a new thing to do.
I love that. I love that. And with this, of course, you're mentioning you're going to be expanding in the fall into the next room. And you also have a yoga studio as well.
We do,
which again goes nicely, kind of hand in hand.
It really does. We find people that get into yoga, especially if they've been climbers before, really notice an expansion of their flexibility and their ability to move.
Again too, right?
Exactly, And we're finding that people that practice yoga already are finding a new way to use that skill that they've built in yoga before.
I would say that for sure. I mean, I love yoga personally, and it gives you better sense of balance and sense of body. So I could see how you just help you be more aware when you're climbing in here.
Absolutely.
Okay, very cool. So we'll put it up. What's your website?
Our website is climbersrock.com.
Very good. So people should go on, check it out, and again, it's something for everybody. Come in and don't be afraid, right? You can start, and you guys will make sure you're all suited up and you're good to go.
About right.
All right. So thanks for letting us come into your space, and I can't wait to see when it expands to another bigger section. All right, that's it for TERRA Home. We're going to have more right after this quick break. Please stay with us.
TERRA, where color lives.
Good morning, welcome back to TERRA at Home, and we are back with Chef Rachel today, and of course with it being summer and all the entertaining, having people over, we like to have great ideas, and this is a really nice idea because you kind of have something for everybody here you're creating today.
Yeah, so today the appetizer that we're doing is crostini 3 ways. So I think any kind of crostini, whether it be bruschetta or something similar to that, is a great idea for an appetizer in the summertime.
Well, there's just so many options, right? There's so many, even with the ones that you're going to show us today, there are lots of different variations that you can make depending on your tastes.
And it's simple too to do this, right? You can pair a lot of different ingredients, and it's something easy. You don't need to be slaving in the kitchen all day.
Right.
Something easy to put together. So first, we're going to start off with an avocado tomato crostini.
Awesome.
So I'm going to make a quick guacamole, and how I do that is with one avocado here, just slice it in half, and then I like to make my guacamole a little chunky.
Okay.
So I like the avocados that aren't too soft. And I basically just cut slits in it lengthwise and then crosswise there, and I scoop it out. And so I have a chunky
Yeah, you kind of have to be
guacamole.
strategic with your avocados. You have to time them out properly, right?
Right. So I just scoop it out like this. And you can mash it up a little bit to your desired consistency, but okay. So we'll start with that. That aside for now.
Okay.
And I make my guacamole very simple. A little bit of jalapeno pepper chopped up.
I never put jalapeno in mine, but I should. Gives it a little heat, right? Yeah, okay.
Some chopped garlic as well. I like to keep my guacamole green.
Okay.
So I don't add anything like tomatoes. In this case, we're going to put tomatoes on the top, but I don't add tomatoes in or onions, but that's just my way of doing it.
Okay.
So we have the avocado, the jalapeno, garlic, some lime juice, and of course salt and pepper.
I think the lime really, really helps with the flavor. I think it's so good, and it also, of course, helps preserve it a little bit as well before you serve it.
Yes, because this is something that you want to do fairly close to serving time.
It's the only thing with avocados, right? They brown quickly.
Okay. A little bit of lime juice here, and that's it. That's how I do mine, and I like it. You can make a big batch of it and dip chips in it.
Yeah.
That's good.
Okay. So now I noticed you're using, again a crostini or little crusted stick, but you can use also multigrain as well, right?
Sure.
So
yes.
Which is again adds a little bit of a healthy option if you want.
Of course. Yeah. So I've already actually cooked my crostinis.
Okay. Yeah, I was going to ask you. So you just put them in the oven for a few minutes and toasted them up?
Yeah, about 7 to 8 minutes at 350.
Okay.
I put a little bit of oil on top first, and they don't take long at all.
Okay. Now, did you brush oil on the top and bottom, or just the top?
I just brushed it on the top.
On top.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so I like this option because not only do the flavors go really well together, but it looks really pretty too with the different colored tomatoes.
Yes, the tomatoes. Yeah, that's a really good one. So now once this is done, obviously you're not putting this back in the oven. This is it.
This is
This is easy to assemble.
Yeah, very easy. It doesn't take long at all, as you can see. So we'll put a little bit of that on top. And then a couple slices of each tomato.
Oh, I see. You're just going to slice them, yeah. That's the problem. Sometimes with these, they get a little messy, right? You have to provide plates for people, not just napkins.
Yes, exactly.
And people make a big mess. So in slicing, that gives it that little, they'll stick on there a little bit better. Yeah, and you can see how cute that is.
Yeah.
It's really great.
So the colors are nice.
Perfect. So again, one easy idea. You adjust it to your liking.
Exactly.
Okay, so what's the next one we're going to make?
Moving on. So next, I'm going to work with some goat cheese and prosciutto.
Awesome. I'll put this over here. Okay.
If you don't mind me reaching over there.
That's good.
Okay, goat cheese is one of my favorite kinds of cheeses, and it's good to work with because it's so soft and spreadable. So again, really simple, doesn't take too long to prepare. So we've got goat cheese on the bottom and a piece of prosciutto. I like to splurge and get the imported prosciutto from the store. It's a little different.
It tastes better?
Yeah. Yeah. It's very much like the prosciutto that I ate when I was over in Italy.
Okay.
So it reminds me of it. So spend a little extra money and get a couple good slices. You don't really need it.
You might as well, right?
You don't really need a lot.
It's meat, so you don't have to.
So prosciutto on top, a dollop of fig jam.
Okay.
And it's a nice flavor to have the sweet in there as well. And this one we can finish off with a little bit of thyme.
Yeah, and of course this is again really nice. We've been talking about, over the last couple of months about how great it is to have fresh herbs in your kitchen, right? Of course, you can get them here at Terra, and it's just so easy, and they look good.
Yes.
They're sitting around your kitchen. They're beautiful, and they're really flourishing in the warm months. And there you have something quick and easy just to grab off, and look at how beautiful those two are.
Yeah, it is great for garnishing. Also, as well, a good tip when you're making the guacamole, if you've never made it before, cilantro is a very good herb
I lace it
put
with
into
cilantro,
that.
like a lot.
Yeah, and I'm the opposite. I only put a little bit in just so I get that little bit of flavor.
Yeah,
but it's
some people don't know how they feel about cilantro.
Yeah,
so
it's all up to you. But
love
it's definitely a good pairing for the avocado.
But that's the thing, the herbs definitely add some flavor, so you can have fun. That is so cute. I love that. That looks really good. Okay, so then another one.
So then the third one, this takes just a little bit more time. We still use the crostinis that are already cooked, but we're going to put some brie on top of these ones. So just some thin slices of brie, and we're just going to throw it back in the oven for a couple minutes.
Okay. All right. Just
so melt it down a bit. And then when that comes out of the oven, we're going to top it with some apple, crushed pecans, and we put a little bit of honey on top of that too.
See, that's the cool part again. So you're looking at options where there you could use pear, you can use different types of nuts, and again, just depending on what you like. And again, with these type of things, you can use different kinds of cheeses. So it's just there's so many options. So again, just a few minutes just to kind of melt that up, right? And then
it won't take long. Keep the oven at 350, and you can do your whole batch of it. Okay. Top it off. With the extra toppings.
All right, so what we'll do is we'll stick that in the oven, then we'll come back from break, and we'll finish off that one, and then we'll talk about some more ideas that we can do for our crostini and summer parties. We'll be right back.
Terra, where color lives.
Welcome back to Terra at Home, and we're back with Chef Rachel in the kitchen right now. And again, we're making a crostini 3 ways, but there are a million ways that you could do it, really, in the big scheme, right? And this is great for entertaining. When people come over, it looks good. It looks very professional. It looks like you just were in our kitchen, which would be way easier if you were just in my kitchen.
Yeah.
So I could do that too. So what you've done with this last one is you just stuck the little bit of sliced brie on the...
Yeah, sliced brie, and just melt it for a couple minutes.
Okay.
And get it nice and warm. And then apple. But like you mentioned before, pear is a really good option too. I love brie and pear. It's one of my favorite combinations. So a couple thin slices of whatever fruit you're going to be using.
Okay.
And just however you think it's easy. I guess these are so long that one slice per.
Yeah, that looks nice. So with keeping the skin on though, it actually adds color, right? Because if you're just putting that apple onto the cheese, and again, and with the bread, it's all the same color, but now you're starting to add some color.
Yeah, so we got the color there. Oops, sorry.
And texture.
I like the red too. That's why I like the apple over the pear, because it is a little more colorful.
Right.
Okay, and then we've got some pecans here.
I love pecans.
So we'll just sprinkle a couple of those on top. It's hard to get them to stick, but we'll put the honey over top. And
yes. Oh wow, that's great.
Yeah, so lots of different combinations. Come up with your own, whatever you have in the fridge, right?
Yep.
But a nice base, something like cheese or a spread to go on the base.
Right.
And then your meat or vegetables, whatever else you may have.
Just a reminder, as Rachel's doing this, is that you can find all of Chef Rachel's recipes on our website, terragreenhouses.com. And again, some really good recipes for summer that we're putting together in the next little while. So you have to stay tuned every Saturday morning, of course. And again, I like the idea of the honey. Again, so many options, so play around. So check out the recipes and come up with your own. And you'll have very happy guests, that's for sure.
Yes.
All right, very good. Maybe you can try it this weekend. Thanks, Chef Rachel. Looks beautiful.
Thank you.
That's it. Have a good one. We'll see you next week.